Staying on the subject of presidential politics, one barometer the presidential politicians have been watching for years takes place at a small university in Southwest Virginia. Roger Mudd has our report.
Isn't this scene familiar? Michael Dukakis slowly making his way into the convention hall to the surging beat of Neil Diamond's America. How about this one? Tip O'Neill acknowledging the cheers at one of those rowdy Democratic presidential conventions. Or try Mario Cuomo, the spellbinding governor of New York, giving his long-awaited convention keynote speech. Those political moments seem like only yesterday. In fact, they almost were. Just 4 days ago, Washington and Lee University in Lexington, Virginia, held its 20th quadrennial mock presidential nominating convention, with the schedule, atmosphere, paraphernalia, and political strategies as accurate as the students could make them. The tradition began in 1908, when William Jennings Bryan was correctly picked on the first ballot as the Democratic nominee. Since then, the mock convention, which is always for the party out of power, has amassed an uncanny record of picking the right nominee, 14 out of the past 19 times, but missing only once in the last 40 years. This is the Texas delegation. Its co-chairmen are two bona fide Texans, Brant Martin of Fort Worth and Scott Holstead of Houston, both seniors. Texas will cast 86 votes when the roll is called, instead of the actual 214. Because Washington and Lee is not a large school, the delegations are exactly 2.5 times smaller than the real ones.
So when the roll call starts and the Texas delegation is called, how do you know how to cast all those votes?
This whole last week, our political researcher and myself and the others under him have been on the phone with the different newspapers in Texas, professors, political analysts, the members of the Democratic Committee, certain delegates that are going to be at the convention. And we've been trying to find out how they are going to vote and what the percentages right now are. And we base our vote on not only what that percentage is now, but what it's likely to be in July in New York.
So when the roll is called, how's the Texas vote going to go?
Right now, we're still trying to keep in touch with the guy back in Austin because it's changing constantly. Right now, we're looking at 58% Clinton. Is it safe to go ahead and give you the results right now, what we're looking at? 58% Clinton and 18% Tsongas.
The convention opened Friday morning with a 2-hour parade down the main street of this Shenandoah Valley town. Each student delegation raised enough money from home state alumni and corporations for a parade float. Virginia, of course, sent the father of his country and the benefactor of the college, George Washington. Authentic up to but not including the wooden teeth. From Illinois came Abraham Lincoln, but dressed in a button-down shirt and a four-in-hand tie. On the float from Tennessee, Elvis still lived. And on the Texas flatbed, the Longhorns waved flags and threw off 300 yellow roses. By evening, the delegates were roaring to go. The steering committee had sent word it wanted more standing ovations. They got their chance when the former Speaker of the House, Tip O'Neill, gave the opening address, for which he was paid $15,000.
The days of passively waiting and hoping for a turnabout are over. A new, younger generation of Democrats are dedicated to meet John F. Kennedy's challenge to America. To all of you, I say and repeat what John F. Kennedy said. Seize the future because it's yours. Thank you.
Then came the platform address delivered for $8,000 by the very Democrat the mock convention had nominated 4 years ago, Michael Dukakis.
We can inspire in our young people the same kind of idealism and love of country that we felt a generation ago. But it won't be the Republican Party that does that. They're too tired, they're too cynical, they're too exhausted from endless ideological battles over who is more conservative than the next guy. And the American people know that. The American people know that. That's why they're ready for new blood. and for new leadership at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Friday night's oratory was, everyone knew, only a warm-up for Saturday's keynote and roll call. The Texas delegation, or at least the leaders of it, caucused Saturday morning to go over last-minute details and give out appreciation bottles of Texas wine.
Miss Robin, social chairman, putting together all the parties.
But mostly, Martin and Holstead wanted to psych the delegation for the $20,000 keynote speech that Governor Cuomo would be delivering that morning.
I want everybody going nuts today. Whenever Mario has an applause line, everybody stand up and scream and do all that.
We need new leadership now. Step aside, Mr. Bush. You have had your parade. Now we plan for an even greater and more beautiful one. Today, here in Virginia, we select the person who will lead us on that triumphal march and throughout all the hard struggle that will earn it, a Democrat to return America to its greatness. Let's get on with it. A new America waits. Thank you and God bless.
Many of these convention delegates had held out the faint hope that Governor Cuomo would come here and send out one of his famous signals, that he was perhaps available after all. But he did not. He did not, leaving this convention to call the roll from among the available candidates, Clinton, Tsongas, Brown, and Harkin.
Alabama with 25.
The Heart of Dixie gives 1 vote to Jerry Brown.
3 votes to Paul Tsongas.
And now remaining 21 votes to the next President of the United States, Bill Clinton!
Delaware with 8.
The state of Delaware, the second smallest state in the Union, home of the Fighting Blue Hens, but better remembered for being the first state to ratify the Constitution of the United States of America, would like to cast 3 votes for Clinton and 5 votes for Tsongas.
Maine, 12.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. The 23rd and most beautiful state to enter the Union, home to the Majority Leader George Mitchell, home to L.L. Bean, which incidentally refused to donate any funds in support of this most prestigious convention. And finally, just one of the 49 other states that is greater than Texas. Maine proudly cast 5 votes for Jerry Brown, 5 votes for Paul Tsongas, and 2 votes for Bill Clinton.
Texas, 86.
How easy it is we mock what we don't understand. Now, on behalf of the great state of Texas, home of the vaquero, the jalapeno, the cowboy, and tequila, we proudly give 20 votes to Mr. Paul Tsongas of Massachusetts. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to recast the remaining 66 votes to a man who needs no introduction, Mr. Bill Clinton!
At the end, it was almost too close to call. Not until the numbers had been double-checked was Clinton declared the nominee with 809 votes, 4 more than a simple majority. Tsongas finished with 563, Brown with 107. Clinton had big majorities in every southern state, save Florida. He beat Tsongas in California and was very competitive against him in the Midwest. He did most poorly in the Northeast, losing Massachusetts, New York, and New Jersey, but almost splitting Pennsylvania. Washington and Lee then chose by acclamation Mario Cuomo to be Clinton's running mate. a choice that will probably not improve on the convention's already dismal record in picking vice presidential candidates.
So now that it's over, what do you think?
Well, I just hope we pick the right nominee. I'd hate to ruin our track record.
All that's left now is to finish school and wait for the real roll call to begin July 15th in New York City.